by Mr. Darko Beats.
Welcome back. Welcome to New York to the Post 90 podcast. Appreciate you guys joining us. I know we have a lot to cover today. Justin was at the away opener out in LA in the flesh, and then we have the Philly game too. So we have to talk about both those games. We have the home opener on the horizon. I know that we're both going. We somehow get 4 points out of 6, which I don't think any of us were imagining. We were definitely talking about the gauntlet that we had ahead of us in our season preview. So as of right now, I think us, the community, we're all pretty happy with where we're sitting and how we're feeling about the squad.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't complain. I definitely thought that we were coming away from both games with either, a draw or less. So to be, like you said, in the position of 4 points out of 6 games, like you literally couldn't ask for a better start. And all of this without a true number 9 on the field. The only 9 I think on our team is a 17-year-old who's turning 18 soon. But yeah, just touching base on the game out in LA, it was a long way to go for a game. I think that's the longest I've ever personally gone. But it was worth it. Like the environment there, I love that stadium. It's always been such a cool place to go. There's a lot of pieces of that stadium that are kind of like bucket list things for our stadium. So to be out there, be in 70-degree weather in the winter, like it's something you can't beat. Obviously the game, while being a draw, it felt like a draw that was a win at the end of the day, and I hate those type of sayings, but that Galaxy scored before I was even in my seat. Like it was one of those games. So I was like, dude, I really came all this way to watch the team get destroyed. And then maybe we'll call it a 50-50 pen. We certainly were texting that we were not as sold.
Well, you know what? And, we're even. Pro refs, we're even. After yesterday's game, Philly, we're even. Don't come to us with makeup pens any further in this season.
Yeah, well, and I wasn't sold on the pen. I'll tell you, the stadium there was definitely not sold on the pen. And it did seem like all eyes kind of pinged on me after that point. I was already getting chirped a little bit, just kind of like here and there. A lot of people being like, why are you here? Why'd you come all this way? Booing me at times. At the end of the day, it was a fun game, though. Got out of there with a point. I will say there was a lot of our fans there. Like, the section for us was big for kind of how far away the game is. Like, it was insanely far. 3,000 miles is nothing to blink at. Obviously, we're out here on the East Coast. We were in the middle of a blizzard, so it was good to kind of get away. But yeah, ultimately, crazy to see, like, dudes like Justin Hack in the flesh again. That was super cool. It was weird to watch him.
Tavon got his jersey. Did it not work out? The swap at the end
didn't work. It didn't work out for me. He didn't want an XL sweater for some reason. But no, it was weird to see Hack, just to touch on him a little bit, like see how he operated, obviously playing against his team for the first time. It did seem like in those small breaks, like when there's an injury or, water breaks and things like that, how quickly he was trying to distance himself from the NYCFC players, like even to the point of running all the way back to talk to his goalkeeper. Obviously some of that is going to be tactical, adjustments, but I do feel like he was trying to keep himself in the mentality of, I'm now on this team. Those guys are over there. I'm going to keep them over there until after the game. So it was a little weird, but at the end of the day, that is his life now. So,
yeah, that was a weird one, right? Because it does feel like it was a draw that felt like a win, but at the same time, I know we're up a man for a considerable amount of time there, and you hope maybe we can get something out of it. But at times, like even towards the end of the game, I forgot that we were up a man. Like it did not feel like it. They were still on our ass, honestly, like the whole time, which was a worrying sight to see when you don't have the context of the Philly game in your back pocket to lean on. But I think like there were some positives in general. We saw Kai play for the first time, like real MLS minutes, and it looks like we have a player in him. I don't want to like jump the gun on it, but there were more than a few moments where he did something that was noteworthy, which is good. And it's not something that you can say about every player on the field for us.
Yeah, no, I thought if you're going to take anything from that LA game, it really has to be And it did kind of continue into the Philly game, so it's kind of almost the perfect segue into the Philly game. Just how comfortable this team is controlling the ball and being in possession. I think a lot of teams going into an environment like LA where they're going to give you a lot of the ball for no reason in their home opener, which confused the hell out of me and a lot of people around me. But teams can be uncomfortable in that possession, especially away from home. NYCFC was completely comfortable in their own skin in that situation in two away games back to back. That's, in my opinion, really telling of the experience of like Tiago, Maxi, those type of guys that are comfortable on the ball. And it's shown in both games, even though, we also go up a man in both games. Team that's super comfortable in possession, but no one to kind of get it to up top.
Yeah, that's the struggle. It's like I don't know. We've even gone back and forth over text over the course of the past 2 weeks about like what our front three should look like, and I know we had a similar one when we last talked on the episode, but I just even feel different now from what we've seen in these 180 minutes or 190 minutes with the 10 minutes of stoppage time on what we should see up top. Like I don't know. To me, I don't know that Nico is the option at nine, and I don't know if you felt this way, but I felt like I didn't see Nico like in the two games that I watched. Like I don't know where he was. I don't know if that's just if Ojeda jumped out to me many times. And I'm not even a full Ojeda supporter. We could have a conversation about him too. But like I was constantly seeing Ojeda. I constantly remember seeing Hannes. I think Hannes, especially in the LA game, looked really good, and it was a bit of a step back in Philly. If we had recorded after LA, I might come here and say that Hannes should be up at that 9 spot. But I don't know. I wasn't sure where Nico was like these last two games, and maybe he just needs to warm up a bit. But that's something to keep an eye on, I think.
Yeah, I think in LA specifically, I was watching him a lot, just trying to see where he was going and where he felt comfortable. And then I've never gone back. I still haven't watched the full, like TV broadcast of it, but in person, it felt like he kept sliding out right, and that's kind of where we know that he's more comfortable out there,
That's where he should be.
and that he just tended to stray out that way, and that's something that somebody like Tales wouldn't do. And I think there is a conversation at this point to kind of get Tales on the field as much as possible. And if that means, putting Hannes on the left and Nico on the right, like you kind of just have to do that. I will say that Philly and Galaxy are both two really good defensive teams. Some of the best defenders in the league live on those teams. And so maybe it's not telling the full story of what would happen against a lower opponent, but it is something to note and at least look at going forward.
Yeah, and I'm happy you mentioned Tallis too, because I feel like I just want to see more out of him. We talked about it in our first episode, in our preseason episode. That feels like maybe there's like a new air of maturity around him, and we felt like we saw that in LA. I think he got more minutes in LA than he did in Philly, right? And
Yeah.
I also felt I was confused when we saw Pascal subbing Seymour over him originally as kind of like the attacking threat, and wasn't sure if there was some kind of like setback with Talles' injury, but then evidently he comes into the game and is fine. But like again, much like the LA game, when him and Keaton was obviously in for the whole Philly game, but when the two of them were in the game at the same time, it felt like we had a completely different team in the attack. I want to see Keaton starting as many games as he can, as his body will let him. I think you run Talles up top. You keep Nico on that right side. It seems like that's where he can be impactful. And then I don't know. It's hard to displace Ojeda, I guess, after the game that we saw from him yesterday. But you have to choose him or Hannes, and they both are looking pretty good right now. So I don't envy Pascal. Like he has some tough decisions to make up top.
And it sucks because I feel like Ojeda is a good player. Like there is a good player in there. It really comes down to that final product. Like it make or breaks. I mean, honestly, any winger, but him specifically because he's so good getting in behind. He's very quick player. I think he surprises a lot of people in some of the stuff that he does. The problem is, and it's like I was texting you while I was at the game in LA, is just I feel like he gets into positions where he can make the correct decision and he always makes the wrong one. like turning into defenders rather than into the open space. And I know that's easy for me as like an armchair analyst to be like, well, if you just turn left instead of right, you're sprinting free. But some of the best players in the world are the best players because they scan, they know these things, they know the information before they're getting into situations, and so they know which way to turn. If he can just, I don't know, scan a little bit more, just have that knowledge, I obviously he would make the right decisions. I just would love to see that going forward, and then he would be a player that you can't displace. But at this moment, you know, the game-winning assist is an amazing thing. I don't think that that's the same as like a game-winning goal, and so I don't think it's necessarily something that you can't displace him for.
Yeah, and it has to be said that we can't let a 99th minute goal change the complexion of conversations that would have otherwise happened if that goal didn't happen, right? Because otherwise we saw 98 minutes of football and made assumptions or spun up narratives in our own brains about what we meant to talk about. But yeah, I mean, he is somebody that if Pascal can spin him up into like a proper winger, then the league like will be on notice for the rest of the
Yeah.
season. Like it'll be a problem that people like many teams don't have pieces to fix. Like you mentioned with his pace, his skills, if he can get some of the decision making down, like he will be what I think he's been promised to a lot of us by a lot of the potential that we've kind of made up in our brains about him.
Well, and it goes back to the thing that I know you like to bring up a lot is like the match score for a player goes up obviously with a goal, and that can kind of be the defining thing. I mean, an assist does that as well. If he doesn't, the ball goes on the inside of the post rather than the outside, he's looking at a goal and an assist. And I think the conversation about his performance completely changes, right? Even in LA, there were moments where he could have scored in that game. I think with the context that we're early in the season, he's a younger player. I think time more than anything will tell what Ojeda can be. And I think, like you said, if there's any coach that I would trust in this position, it's Pascal. We just have to kind of trust him. Although, like you said, the Seymour decision was a weird one to me. Maybe kind of shades of like Nick Cushing throwing the middle finger to the front office and throwing, kids onto the field just to kind of say like, hey, these are the options I have. I'm going to play them. At the end of the day, though, if you're playing devil's advocate, if you are of the camp that we need a number nine and that's the last true piece, then you're admitting in that the team can supply a number nine in terms of feeding them chances, creating. So if you're in that mindset, then you should also realize that any pro playing in attack should be able to finish those, right? So realistically, a Nico should be able to be up there and score 10, 15 goals as a professional if we have the service for it.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that 99% of our team can put away either of those two opportunities that Seymour had on the breakaway. But then again, it's hard to say because do the opportunities happen if it's not Seymour playing the line and jumping it and making the breakaway with his pace? But it is tough to watch, and it sucks. I'm sure it
Yeah.
sucks more if you're Seymour than if you're anybody else or us assholes talking about it. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. If it's Tales, I would think it probably gets scored, or like you said, Nico. But I feel like on that train of thought, like proving that you have the delivery and all, like that's the last piece you need is the nine. Like I feel like that message kind of got across in that Philly game, like because any other player or even Seymour himself should be finishing those. And like if you had Alonso, I mean Alonso is finishing a lot more than just those two. So it does drive that point, I think, to the front office that something needs to happen, and I guess they seem from what they've said publicly that is the goal, that is still a move that needs to be made. You just hope it doesn't take too long, because this is like year 3 or 4, I guess, that we're looking for a nine. You get 6 months of reprise because Alonso kind of popped off and became the guy, but then you lost him, so we're back to where we were.
And all of that is again no reflection of like our thoughts on Seymour as a player or a person. Like he shouldn't even our point is that he shouldn't really be in those positions to begin with.
Hmm.
He shouldn't have the weight of the team and, a winning goal or a goal that ices the game on his shoulders at 17. Realistically, if you really peel it back, it needs to be on the front office, and that's where I think the frustration would lie for me personally. So, like you said, we were kind of victims and benefactors of the Alonso kind of emergence because on one hand, yes, we get a goal scorer that scores a ton of goals. On the flip side of that, it also shows the front office like, well, you could probably get away with not signing a number 9 because this guy could be it for a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we were victims of that for sure. We didn't. We got Alonso, and I mean, you still would think maybe they need to address the depth, regardless of if Alonso is like full strength. But yeah, that's tough. I don't know too, and to give credit to Seymour, like I don't know what the players felt like on the ground, but or how you felt watching the game. We haven't talked about this specifically, but that game was like very tense, like very very high energy intense for a week 2 game. Like it genuinely had like the vibes of like a playoff game to it, and I don't know if that's because Philly wanted to stick it to us because we knocked them out of the playoffs last year, or if it's just kind of like a residue of the rivalry that we have between us and Philly. But it felt tense, and then you get the 10 minutes of stoppage time. You have red cards, the chippiness, penalties, like the refs making a name for themselves. Like that game genuinely had it all, and maybe like the added nerves on top of that. Regardless of the fact that Seymour is trying to prove himself as a person and a player to the club, is like a lot of weight, I think, to have on the shoulders.
Well, I mean, I've always said that I respect that derby. I think it's a derby personally, and I respect that one more than the New York, the Hudson River Valley, or whatever the fuck. Like, I respect that rivalry so much more because Philly actually wins things. It's actually, two teams that have a chance every single year, whereas with the Red Bulls, it's just never that.
Right.
Red Bulls might get some results against us, but at the end of the day, it results in nothing, right? So who cares, in my opinion? Like, yes, it's always going to be fun to go watch the games, and there's like the added chippiness and stuff like that. To me, it feels manufactured, whereas the Philly one, like, there's real hate. Like, they really don't fuck with each other.
Yeah, no, it comes through. It comes through the TV for sure. Like I was saying, it felt that way yesterday. It was just such a tense game for a week 2 game. I think one of the commentators called it out too. They're like, this is like weirdly, it just feels bigger than it is.
Yeah, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to have. I would prefer it that way, and it feels better too that we're on like the back end of it now, and we came out as victors, and have the points that we talked about, 4 out of 6. I know we still have kind of Murderers Row ahead of us in a way. Maybe a bit of a break here with the home opener. We have Orlando, who just kind of got upset pretty bad by Miami. I think they were up 2-0. They lost like 4-2 or 5-2, was it?
I'd say at least 4-2, maybe 3-2.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, do you have any feelings about what is in store for us at this home opener? Like, do you expect any big lineup changes? Do you think it's like a shoe-in? Like, where are we at?
I don't want to say shoo-in because then we're gonna drive to New York and it's gonna be a shit show drive home. No, I mean, I think Orlando is good on their day, and I think they have a pretty good chance of being a positive playoff team this season. Obviously, they went and at least punched Miami in the face. They got hit back pretty hard, but it's still tough to go and take it to a team like Miami. So by no means I think it'll be an easy game, but at the end of the day, there's always that home opener magic. First time being in New York for a home game, it's always going to have that certain feeling. And I want to say we have not lost one. I want to say it's all been wins or draws for our entire.
I think that's true.
I want to say that's true. So if I'm betting on it, NYCFC is going to be able to get a result. It's just how difficult is it going to be? How hard does Pascal make it on himself? Because I do think he does have a tendency to maybe over tinker at times. I think if he just lays out the exact lineup that we started in Philly, minus, a couple of subs that were made that I don't necessarily agree with, I think you're looking at an easy result. But Orlando's going to fight. But not to get too crazy, but like, do these two games kind of give you more hope or less hope, kind of for the outlook of the season? Because I know we were pretty much like getting into the playoffs, but not being too high, kind of in our predictions. Do these games kind of move you up in that, or just kind of keep it the same?
I still feel around where we're at. Like, I think we'll definitely be a playoff team that can win a few games. I needed the extra day to reflect on it because I do feel like after the LA game, I felt like it was points dropped by not having to capitalize on the red card. And then Philly, I was thinking it was points dropped before Tavon got that in at the end, so that was like kind of a blessing. But again, like, putting too much weight in a last second goal is something I don't want to do. But I feel like we're about where I thought we would be.
I felt like it was more, you know, I counted both games as draws because obviously I didn't expect the last minute goal. And in my brain, I just kind of chalked it up to we controlled a lot of the game. This is a team that kind of had a lot of question marks coming into the season of how things are going to look with no number nine. Are we going to be able to kind of control the ball and things like that? So I saw the possession. I saw a team that was dangerous and just not finishing chances, which is obviously the story of our life. I feel like we talk about this every single year. But I just saw them as kind of building block games in a schedule that wasn't favorable for us. So I would say it gave me more hope than not. But I'm not ready. Although in private, I will say like we're winning the fucking league. But I'm not ready to like fully come on here and move my prediction at all.
I will say though, I think the possession and just the control that it felt that we had on the field at times was very promising, and some of the buildup as well. Like I think of, I don't know if it was an Ojeda shot that ended up not going in or whatever that was off the post, but I remember we played it up the middle and Keaton megged somebody through to like Nico who was already running, and it was 6 or 7 field players to touch the ball, and then even on the winning goal, I think there was 6 or 7 players that touched the ball in the buildup of that. So like those are the promising things you always think back to, like that Maxi goal where like 14 different passes were made and like every player on the field touched it. That speak like very highly, I think, of what we're trying to do. And like if we can make those things happen and we can kind of maintain that control and possession, then like you don't even give the team the ball or give the opponent the ball to have a chance to do anything. And that seems to be like the next logical step of what Pascal is trying to get us to do. And I do just think it's really interesting to see like Pascal's system continue to grow, because you can very clearly tell that last year was kind of getting everybody bought into him, into the system, and in sort of like baby steps, especially as like certain guys kind of got hot and cemented themselves as players in their roles. And now like seeing the next step happen is like really cool, because I feel like that's something we haven't gotten to see a system build positively over the course of years, I think, in a long time. And that in itself is like a promising thing.
Ever for NYCFC.
That's a good
Because
point.
if you think back to Ronnie, like I don't know that he necessarily had a system. He just kind of had like a will to win,
Yeah. And
and
to score.
and the team went on a run. Like I don't think that we've ever really had a true system kick in, and I'm just excited to see what it turns into. I hope that Pascal sees the vision of like the new stadium and all that stuff, and he's willing to stay to see this to the end.
I pray.
Because it appears to be a winning system. You just need the right pieces in the right place, and results and everything to go your way, which is a lot to ask, but I think you can see that through here.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just promising to see that step forward. Like you said, maybe actually we have never had that, like where we're building on something year after year, whether that's because of mass player turnover or coach turnover, whatever it may be. So I'm excited to see it keep building. Like I think it can only go up from here, and it seems like we both have full faith in Pascal. It seems like a
Yeah.
lot of the fan base and the front office, obviously, and the players all have full faith in Pascal. And I don't think we've had a coach in a long time where like all four of those things aligned, or all three of those things: fans, media, players, and front office. Like we're all four, where you're at like 99% coach approval. Like even when we
Yeah.
had Ronnie and we won the league, like the game before we went on the 10-game run, there were Ronnie out banners in the stands. Like
Right.
it's been a long time since everything is aligned, and it does add a level of comfort, I think, to the players and to Pascal, and then to us as fans too, being able to watch. So it's a good place to be right now, a comfortable place.
Yeah. And just imagine the task it is, one, to win ball games, but two, to have, the majority of a New York fan base not be calling for your head. Like that is an insane feat in of itself. I'm just I'm excited. I don't want to put too much into it though, because I don't want, what the only way you can get your heart broken is with hope.
I was gonna say we've been hurt before.
And look at some of the signs around me.
Yeah,
There's been plenty of hurt sports wise to go around. So yeah, I think it's a good place to leave it. We'll be there for the home opener this week or this weekend. Hope to see you guys there. Yeah, if you made it to this point of the video, obviously you've enjoyed it or not hated it. So if you could do the sellout thing and leave a like, comment, and share it with anyone who you think would find it interesting. We post here pretty much weekly. Sometimes we'll take a week off if, obviously there's traveling and things like that. But you'll see us here weekly after the games. We post everywhere that you can get a podcast. And yeah, let's go get a W in this home opener.
I pray. It's been a long time since we've been to the stadium, so I'm like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week after the game.
Yeah,
Peace.
see ya.